What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of TSC News here to preview WWE Monday Night Raw for July 18th, 2016, headlined by one of the bigger Raw main events in recent history, Dean Ambrose making his first TV WWE Championship defense, or on pay-per-view for that matter, against Seth Rollins, his arch rival. These guys have had many awesome matches before, and this one, if given the time, should be no different. Now, what makes this interesting is that this is a title match taking place 6 days before the WWE Battleground 2016 pay-per-view, which is headlined by Ambrose versus Rollins versus the returning Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. Now, notice, I said WWE Championship. That's what WWE is currently referring this title as, which means, perhaps, the rumors are true. We are getting not one, but two world titles during this brand split. Ugh. And that means that the Smackdown Championship, or the Raw Championship, whatever the other championship is going to be, will be called the World Heavyweight Championship once again. And while we may see the return of the beloved big gold belt, though at least I love it, I loved that belt back in WCW days, I gotta say, just calling one the WWE Championship, one the World Heavyweight Championship, that is confusing as hell. Call one the WWE RAW Championship, call one the Smackdown Championship. There's nothing wrong with that. These are your two flagship shows. Put the titles with the names of the shows on them. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure we're going to get a Raw logo on one, a Smackdown logo on one. What's the big damn deal? And speaking of the brand split, we are 24 hours away by the time we get to this main event from the WWE Draft on Smackdown Live Tuesday night. At the time of recording this, it's 48 hours from the Smackdown Live brand draft, and a lot of moving parts. Nobody really knows what's going on as far as fans. A lot of insiders kind of in the dark as well. They haven't really made it clear what's going on, but here's what we know from Monday Night Raw. We're getting this title match. We may or may not get some type of finish. Okay, it could be a non-finish. Could be like a double count-out, double DQ, no contest, whatever. We could see Ambrose retain, which would make Seth look really bad. We could see Rollins regain, which would make Rollins look really freaking bad. And we also have Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon picking their respective general managers. For those that don't know, Shane is running SmackDown, Stephanie is running Raw. They're both technically commissioners. Ugh. Commissioners, GMs, COOs, CFOs, CEOs, who knows? That's just what we need. More authority figures. That's just what we need. More TV to be centered around Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon. Ugh. Let me tell you something. I was just at WWE MSG Saturday night. It was an awesome show. Great action. I'll get to it in a second, but let me tell you something. Do you know what I didn't see in the crowd? T-shirts for Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon. Do you know what signs I didn't see? Signs for Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon. I talked to a lot of fans that I sat next to, that I met. I met a lot of great people there. Much respect to anybody that came up to me and talked about TSC and their love for wrestling. I love it. Do you know what all those fans did not mention? The Authority. Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, and even Triple H. No, they were there to see Kevin Owens, John Cena, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, KO. You know who they weren't there to see? The Authority. And, to a lesser extent, Shane McMahon. Now, I have no problem with Shane McMahon as the on-air authority figure, because it's been a hell of a long time since we have had a good babyface authority figure. And whether you like Shane McMahon or not, you can't say the guy doesn't draw some interest, and you can't say that whether or not he's great on the mic or not, and he really hasn't been since he's been back. He is very likable. He's very likable on social media. He's very likable on TV. He comes off cool. He comes off in touch, and I know that's the way he's booked, but the guy gets custom Jordans for every city he goes to. The guy is a connoisseur of hip-hop culture and baller culture and sneaker culture. And that's cool to a lot of young people. Well, that's cool to me, man. I love it. He just comes off as a dude that you would want to chill with, okay? He's a little gray now, and he's older and whatnot, but he seems like a cool dad. He seems like the type of dude that you'd see at like a basketball game or something, or at the club, and you'd be like, what's up, Shane O'Mac? He seems like that type of guy. When I see Stephanie, and to a lesser extent, when I see Triple H, and especially when I see Vince McMahon, that does not come to mind. So instead of just having Shane O'Mac run SmackDown and moving on from the Authority, no, we're going to get a sibling rivalry, which is essentially the poor man's Stephanie versus Eric Bischoff feud from 2002 and 2003, back in the day with the original brand extension. And that feud, believe it or not, was actually entertaining. This one, and here's the difference. Back then, Stephanie was younger. She's still beautiful, but she was younger. She was smoking hot. Okay, she appealed to a lot of young men and women. And she was a babyface. Meanwhile, Eric Bischoff was this douchebag heel that was phenomenal at his role. And it worked out perfectly. Instead, we have the sibling rivalry. We also have more hype for Battleground. Some of the confirmed matches include Cena, Enzo, and Cass against The Club. Should be a fun match. We have, of course, the triple threat for the world title at Battleground. We have Sasha Banks and a mystery partner taking on Dana Brooke and Women's Champion Charlotte. Perhaps it's Bayley from NXT. Maybe it's Becky Lynch, even though she's feuding with Natalya. Maybe it's Alicia Fox who's returning. Perhaps Naomi. I think Naomi, Fox, Becky, any of the girls on the current roster I think would be a big disappointment unless they had like a rabbit out of their hat and brought back like AJ Lee or something like that. And I find that highly, highly unlikely given her husband's current relationship with WWE. So we'll see. Perhaps the mystery partner will be revealed on Monday. I'd actually like to have them save it for Sunday, next Sunday, because it builds up some more intrigue for Battleground, which between this title match and the WWE Draft has become kind of a lame duck show in some ways. We have Rusev taking on Zack Ryder. After Zack Ryder lost to Sheamus, and get this, at MSG, the dude lost to Del Rio. Zack Ryder was beaten in New York on a house show. Now, it was a damn good match. And there was a big segment of the crowd that did like Del Rio, especially the Hispanic sect. There was a lot of sections with a lot of Hispanic fans and fans from Mexico, and I was sitting next to a few as well. And I happen to be Venezuelan, Lebanese and Venezuelan, and my parents really like Del Rio. Del Rio appeals to a lot of people, especially Spanish-speaking people from Hispanic countries, whether it be in Latin America or South America. And yet, they barely do anything with this guy. They keep him as a heel. Find a feud that will allow him to turn babyface, book him as a badass, have him squash a bunch of dudes, break their arms, just bring in jobbers every week and just have him squash them. Do arm bars, whatever. You want to punish Roman Reigns? Don't put him back in a freaking pay-per-view main event, okay? If you really think he's not the guy anymore, and I don't know what Vince's current feeling is on Roman Reigns, you know what? You're paying a ton of money to Del Rio. You paid a ton of money to take him out of Lucha Underground and AAA. Have him break Roman Reigns' arm in storyline. Push him. Do something. But instead, no, let's just let him waste away and lose to Zack Ryder. And I love Zack Ryder, but I'm just saying. Although I don't think Zack Ryder should have lost to MSG. On a non-televised event, no less. So now we have Rusev and Ryder. Ryder's got new music. One would think that means they're renewing his push or lack thereof. So I guess maybe he'll beat Rusev. Maybe he'll get an upset and he'll lose in the next night. Who the hell knows? I don't know at this point. I have a hard time caring about this feud. The match will be very good. The feud sucks. Just sucks. Few other notes. Heath Slater suffered a big cut near his right eye at a house show in Bangor, Maine, Saturday night. Luckily, he seems to be okay. And we have the New Day teasing yet another confrontation with the Wyatt family. They had that awful confrontation at the Wyatt compound that was a ripoff of Matt Hardy's Final Deletion produced segment on Impact Wrestling. They had the stupid shaky camera. That's now an unfortunate trademark of WWE. Match should be good, though. I did watch the New Day versus the Wyatt family at MSG. It was all right. Nothing spectacular. I'm sure they'll turn it up on the pay-per-view, but still, nothing crazy. So, as far as WWE MSG, some people wanted me to review the show that I went to. I gotta say, one of the best shows I've ever went to. And let me actually pull out some notes here, because there are a ton of things that happened on the show. Some notable, some not so notable, but overall, I got to say, man, I truly got my money's worth. First off, let me talk about the best match of the night that took place in the middle of the show. AJ Styles versus John Cena. This match had Cena and AJ Styles kick out of their respective finishers, the Styles Clash and the AA. It had both guys get out of their submissions, the STF and the Calf Crusher. It had run-ins from the Usos and from the Club. This is actually very reminiscent kind of I'm trying to think. AJ Styles versus, well, pretty much a lot of guys in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm trying to think, why is his name escaping me right now? Well, whatever. I'll come back to that in a sec. But this was a great match. This was just an excellent match right here. Lots of near falls. Finally, after the Usos ran in and stopped the Club from further interfering, and by the way, John Cena kicked out of the Magic Killer, AJ Styles went for a phenomenal forearm, got caught by Cena and AA, hit it, 1, 2, 3. This went like 35, nearly 40 minutes. This, let me tell you, this was a WrestleMania caliber match. I kid you not. This was a WrestleMania caliber match, and I have to say, man, this, okay, there we go. Sorry, why did his name escape me? He's a legend. AJ Styles, Minoru Suzuki. Very reminiscent of this match as far as the chaos at the end. If you loved that match that they had, that was considered the match of the year last year, this was off the charts. You know, obviously Cena's got a different style from Suzuki, but as far as the ending where it had a lot of chaos, the difference is you didn't also have the Young Bucks run in. It was Gallows, it was Anderson, and it was just, yeah, it was awesome. The babyface prevailed. I kid you not. I'm not one to exaggerate. I'm not one for hyperbole and all that jazz. I am telling you, I've seen a lot of matches. I've been to a WrestleMania. I've been to Survivor Series. I've been to tons of pay-per-views, tons of WWE shows, tons of TNA shows, a couple ROH shows, a bunch of indie shows. I'm telling you, I promise you, that Styles versus Cena and MSG, July 16th, 2016, was one of, if not the greatest match I have ever seen. And if not the greatest match, one of the best matches I've ever seen live. And if that match is replicated at SummerSlam, and assuming it has that kind of energy that it did in MSG, and it probably will, that will be match of the year. That's all I got to say. I know a lot of people who didn't see it because they weren't at MSG. I don't know if it was uploaded on YouTube or Dailymotion, but it was incredible. It was WrestleMania caliber. You put that on any pay-per-view, including a WrestleMania. Brother, sister, let me tell you, well worth the price of admission. Thank you, John Cena and AJ Styles, for that match. There was nothing that topped it prior to that match, and there was sure as hell nothing that topped it after that match. It was great. It was great. And the cool thing was I went with a bunch of people that weren't really wrestling fans or hadn't been for a while. One of my friends, Candace, just got into it, and they were all losing their mind. The adorable little kid that was waiting for Cena all show was losing his mind. The people behind me were losing their mind. Everybody was losing their mind. We didn't even have time to chant, "This is awesome." It was just, the energy was incredible. And I realized this is one of Cena's few house show appearances this year because of his increasing schedule outside of the ring. And I think this might be one of 6 house show appearances. I think he made 1 or 2 in Japan. This might have been his 3rd house show appearance of the year. Just incredible. Incredible. I have enough good things. I don't have enough good things to say about this match, although I've said enough good things. So hopefully you'll take my word for it. And hopefully you'll take my word for it. And hopefully this match will take place at SummerSlam, because it is truly incredible. And it made me just think, you know what? Cena might be a part-timer, but he should get at least one more run with the title. And AJ Styles absolutely needs to have a run with this title by the end of the year. Absolutely. Whether it be the world title, WWE title, whatever the hell you want to call it. Give him the title. No, another thing. Another thing. Cena and Styles, forget Reigns, forget Ambrose, who they used and abused prior to giving him the title, forget Rollins, who they botched with his comeback, not making him a babyface. Cena versus Styles, after watching this match, has to be the top program in WWE. I don't care what brand it's on, it has to be. It's got the best mic work, it's got the best in-ring work, it's got the best heat. Both guys are ridiculously over at house shows. You have to make this the top program. A title should be on the line, and both men should get a run with the title, especially AJ Styles. How's that for an endorsement? Anyway, the rest of the show, we opened up with the Usos versus The Club. The Usos got the clean win. I'm not a fan of The Club constantly losing, but it is a house show. The Usos were popular, even though a lot of people don't like them. It was a split crowd. A lot of fun. I think sometimes people forget how talented the Usos are. I was reminded of that tonight. We had Apollo Crews defeat Sheamus with a roll-up. It was pretty good, but I still don't understand why Apollo Crews can't just win with a standing shooting star press or his big power bomb or whatever other moves he has, a moonsault. The fact that he has to roll up Sheamus and that he has to sneak one in, steal a pin. Not a fan of that one, but it was a good match. Good match for what it was. Sheamus, say what you want about him, but he's damn good in the ring, and he's got a main event level entrance. And a lot of people did like Apollo Crews too. He hasn't been given enough chances on the mic to really showcase his stuff. When he has, he's been given this awful, overly scripted dialogue. If they just let this guy be himself, fans will love him. I mean, they really gave him a nice pop, and this was his MSG debut. We had Mark Henry and Jack Swagger team up. Not sure if those guys have teamed up on the C shows or other house shows before, but they teamed up, and it made sense. Jack Swagger, former All-American in the University of Minnesota, thinking Brock Lesnar. University of Oklahoma in wrestling. And Mark Henry, the former Olympian, teamed up to destroy the Social Outcasts. This was a comedy match. Jericho versus Neville. Jericho beat Neville. This was originally advertised as a street fight. It was not. This was Neville's return. Really good match. Jericho was excellent at getting heat. He came out, said, quiet, quiet, quiet. He challenged the little kid to a fight. I see a lot of criticism of Chris Jericho these days. I understand he's slower. I understand he's older. And maybe just as a longtime fan who grew up as a fan of Chris Jericho, I'm a little biased here, okay? We share some mutual friends as well. But I really do think that Jericho is still one of the few guys in the industry that can get genuine heat and emotion out of a crowd, and he played him like a fiddle. He was great. He was great on the mic. He was pretty damn good in the ring. I know he's slower. I know he's not the same guy from 1999 or 2009, but I do think he gets a lot of flack. I really do. He's not the one booking the matches. He's not the one deciding to beat AJ Styles and to beat Dean Ambrose and some of your favorites here. All right? He wasn't a great babyface earlier this year. He had some god-awful material that whether he came up with or WWE came up with, whatever, it was horrible. But I think he's really found his stride again as a heel. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I'm telling you, but a lot of these house shows, heel or babyface, the crowd still loves Chris Jericho and still loves to participate, whether he's a babyface or a heel. And he was great here. He hit a code breaker on Neville when Neville went to springboard. This was a damn good match. I feel really bad for Neville. I think Neville should have won this one. It wouldn't have made a difference, but clearly Chris Jericho had more fans in the crowd than Neville. As I mentioned before, John Cena and AJ Styles. If this was on TV, this would have been match of the year. Becky Lynch and Natalya. It was okay. Becky Lynch got the win with the disarmor. Oh, I should also note that another reason why Styles should get the title is because while people like him, people are also willing to boo him, which is him doing his job as a heel. And he got people to cheer Cena more. And he's done that not only at house shows, but on TV. So if you're a heel in 2016 that can actually get people to boo you and get people to cheer John Cena, then you know what? You deserve a hell of a lot of money. You deserve one heck of a push, and you deserve a title run. Just saying. We had the New Day beat the Wyatt family clean. This was pretty good. They pinned Rowan. But, actually, I don't know if it was pretty good. It was okay. Good for what it was. You know, it kind of seemed like a run-through of their pay-per-view match. But still, it was fun. The New Day danced. It was what it was. I've seen enough of Eric Rowan's butt crack and Braun Strowman for 1 year, though. I saw them at MSG earlier this year. At least they weren't wrestling the Big Show and Kane like they were the last time they were here. Still, not a fan. And Luke Harper is dearly missed. Dearly missed. And lastly, we had Ambrose versus Rollins, which was changed to Ambrose versus Rollins versus Kevin Owens. This was a damn good match. I wouldn't say it was anywhere near the level of AJ Styles versus Cena. I wouldn't say this was pay-per-view quality. This was like a good TV main event, but it featured a steel chair, a couple steel chair shots to the back of Rollins and Ambrose courtesy of Owens. We even had Ambrose suplex on a chair by Owens, and we had Rollins set up a table in the corner and throw Ambrose in for a power bomb. We even had Rollins impersonate Roman Reigns, and he did the power bomb on was it Kevin Owens? Yeah, I think it was on Kevin Owens. Yeah, did it on Kevin Owens. They did the Shield power bomb minus Roman Reigns, and then Rollins went to tease the spear, also making fun of Roman, but Dean got out of it. Just an awesome back and forth match. And lastly, Ambrose tossed out. Actually, no, Owens threw Rollins out of the ring, and then Ambrose hit the Dirty Deeds on Owens for the win. Pretty good match. Again, I wouldn't say it was pay-per-view quality, but they had a few nice spots, and crowd really liked Owens. Crowd really liked Rollins. There's a decent number of fans for Ambrose, but really a big difference from WrestleMania season, that's for sure. Perhaps Triple H and Brock Lesnar shouldn't have beaten him. Just a suggestion. A retroactive suggestion, but a suggestion no less. So overall, thumbs up show. And yeah, if you take Cena and Styles out of it, it would have been just a solid show. Still a fun show. But AJ Styles and John Cena put together a pay-per-view, I kid you not, a WrestleMania caliber effort. This was every bit as good as a lot of Styles' New Japan matches and matches this year. I'm telling you. Some people won't believe me. Some people may think I'm exaggerating. Maybe I was just caught up in the emotion of a lot of fans next to me, including some fans that hadn't watched wrestling in a while, including some that never even seen live wrestling. But it was magic that night. Much respect to all involved. So if WWE is in your town, and hopefully your town's not a quote-unquote B-town, and you're not getting Big Show and Kane in the main event, I strongly suggest you go to a house show. Hell, even if Big Show and Kane are in the main event, if you get tickets cheap enough, it's fun to go to a WWE show. Always a lot of fun, especially if you're in the New York area. Not to sound biased, but they always do a little bit extra at MSG. So take advantage of it while you can when WWE's in your town, and also support your local indie wrestling because there's a lot of good wrestling too on the indies. And sometimes you'll find an indie in your respective town or nearby town, and hey, somebody like Buff Bagwell or DDP or somebody you didn't expect is appearing, and you never know. Maybe you'll discover some talent you never knew before. But folks, I want to hear from you. What do you think about WWE Monday Night Raw coming up? What do you think about this draft? What do you think about Battleground? What do you think about Brock Lesnar failing that USADA test, flagged for a potential violation, perhaps facing a 2-year suspension in MMA, a commission suspension from Nevada, and a potential suspension from WWE? And if not a suspension from WWE, perhaps commissions will say, you know what? You got suspended in MMA. We kind of sort of regulate WWE when they're in our state. And you know what? We ain't going to let you wrestle here. It could happen. But let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us. Facebook us. Do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this update, please like, share, take care, and stay tuned for more WWE Battleground coverage. Don't forget to subscribe, kids.